Previously on Meerkat Manor, Flower's newest litter made their first steps from below ground into the open air of the Kalahari Desert. And while 3 of the new arrivals were being looked after at the burrow, their brother Columbus had a big adventure. Meet the Whiskers. Flower, the leader of the group, Zaphod, her partner, Yosarian, with some social problems, Mozart, the caring one, Tosca, the rebellious one, courageous little Shakespeare, and the naughty kids. Welcome to Meerkat Manor. 10 years of intensive research by Cambridge University biologists has uncovered the fascinating lives of a wild group of meerkats known as the Whiskers. This extended family is run by their matriarch, Flower. She wears a radio collar so that biologists can track her gang's movements. Home to the Whiskers is a 3-square-mile patch of scrub at the edge of the red sands of the Kalahari Desert in South Africa. This successful group have 15 burrows at their disposal and regularly move homes to find the best feeding places. And in this gang, there are a lot of mouths to feed. The arrival of Flower's 3rd litter means that the group has expanded to 44. With plenty of meerkats looking out for each other, this successful gang is going from strength to strength, and we're watching their every move. It's early morning, and the Whiskers have spent the previous night like any other, sleeping safely below ground. While they've been cozy and warm in the burrow, a Kalahari rain shower has come and gone, and with a cool, damp day, there's the promise of a good day's foraging ahead. For the Whiskers, a misty morning is a rare and welcome sight. It isn't just beautiful. It means that rain has fallen, and in a region dominated by desert, water is an extremely precious commodity. The Whiskers' very lives depend on it. With an all-you-can-eat beetle and scorpion buffet on the morning's menu, the group wastes little time hanging around the burrow and soon set off to find breakfast. Although it's perfect weather for foraging, Flower's latest litter needs a little more time at the burrow before they'll be allowed out for a full day's hunting with the grown-ups. Columbus is the only pup that has previously ventured away from the burrow area. Today, he'll have to be content with the company of his 3 less adventurous siblings. Sophie, one of Mozart's 5-month-old offspring, is one of the volunteer babysitters. With new pups to look after, she's no longer one of the babies in the group. She has adult responsibilities. But she's never had kids of her own and is finding them a bit of a handful. It's tough being mom for a day, but somebody's got to do it. The rest of the gang are hard at work finding breakfast, but the morning dew is making the foraging unpleasant. Their fur acts like a sponge, and their saturated coats are proving uncomfortable to wear. The trouble with soggy fur is that when they dig for food, they end up sporting new sand boots and face masks. Even though it's troublesome being wet and sandy, the forage continues because there are rich pickings today. While the feast is in full swing, the Whiskers have some extra help to look out for predators. Friendly local shrikes are hunting for insects too, and their loud alarm calls are useful to signal danger. When the coast is clear, it's time to get back to the business of dining out on today's Kalahari cuisine. The dewy morning is a lot less fun for poor Tosca. She's still alone after being evicted from the gang. Tosca has to keep a careful eye out for predators. It's stressful, and it means that she has less time to spend foraging. Although she's sticking close to the group, she's on her own, and she's vulnerable. As the gang continues on foraging, Tosca edges nearer to the group. She's desperate to rejoin the Whiskers. Jogu, one of her 5-month-old sons, has mastered the art of insect catching. But Tosca can see that his brother, McMurphy, is heading for trouble. It would be more than her life is worth to approach the group, so Tosca can only sit and watch. Horned adders are extremely dangerous when they're provoked. But McMurphy is still learning about the perils that his home has to offer. This time, he sensibly heeds the snake's warning. Even if he'd gotten into trouble, Tosca couldn't have approached. Flower is very close by, and she's in no mood for compromising. With a new litter of 4 pups back at the burrow, keeping the gang in order is the best way to ensure a safe upbringing. She will allow nothing to stand in her way. Her pups will need to be fed when she gets back, and she's hungry. Interfering family members aren't going to get anywhere near this meal. While Flower's preoccupied with her noisy snack, the rest of the gang spot Tosca. She's not hanging around. She quickly heads away from the danger area. Tosca's alone and very much an outsider. Will this girl ever find the warmth of a family again? Having had such a productive day's hunting, the Whiskers foragers return home safely. The pups haven't seen Mom all day and are ready for a feed. Flower doesn't mind. She's eaten well today, and there's plenty of milk to go around. Columbus, parsley, basil, and rose have been born at the perfect time of year. A good supply of milk has all the nutrients they need to make them fit and healthy. Soon, it will be winter. With the arrival of colder, drier weather, food becomes harder to find. Some of the larger animals will migrate to areas where food is easier to come by, but it would be impossible for the tiny meerkats to travel such long distances. The whiskers will start to wander over a larger territory, which could lead to more conflicts with rival gangs. The sooner the pups get their strength, the better their chance for survival. For now, they can afford to relax in the warm autumn sun, safe in the company of their experienced gang. They are oblivious to the fact that only a half-mile away, there's another group of meerkats on the prowl. It's the whiskers' arch enemy, the lazuli. They've made a daring foray into the whiskers' territory. They're being led by Big Si. He's the dominant male of this gang, and although he's bigger than any other meerkat in the area, he's still being vigilant. If he's spotted by Flower's group, there'll be trouble. The lazuli show no sign of returning to their own territory, and with evening drawing in, it looks like they'll be spending the night in one of the whiskers' burrows. At least they have safety in numbers. There's one meerkat nearby who doesn't have the luxury of group protection. Tosca's very much on her own. She's been shunned by the whiskers for so long that it's likely she'll never be allowed to join her family again. Her solitude is final. The only way she can stay alive is by starting a group of her own. But first, she needs to find an unrelated roving male for a mate. Perhaps her luck is about to change. Carlos, a roving male from the lazuli group, has spent a lot of time hanging out close to the whiskers in recent months, and he always has a partner on his mind. For Tosca, this could be her ticket to a new life. For Carlos, this looks like an opportunity too good to miss. As the whiskers settle down for the night, they're in the dark about what the neighbors are up to. But they do know there's a storm brewing. As darkness falls, they make for the security of the sleeping chamber. The bad weather continues through the night and well into the morning. Storm events are rare in the Kalahari, but when they hit hard. The lazuli have weathered the storm in one of the whiskers' burrows and have remained undetected by Flower's gang. In fact, they're making themselves quite comfortable. Are the whiskers in for trouble? As the sun breaks through, the whiskers are in high spirits. The favorite teenage sport of play fighting is in full swing. Columbus is more interested in what the older members of the group are up to than playing with his siblings. But at a quarter of their size, he's far too small and vulnerable to join in. He's gonna have to stick with Parsley, Basil, and Rose for the time being. The Osirian, an 8-year-old, fully grown adult, doesn't have that problem. He's seen plenty of action in the past. When he was a pup, he was attacked by a bird of prey. He managed to escape, but he was left with a big scar over his left eye. He fancies getting in on the entertainment. For meerkats, play fighting is a way of practicing their combat skills. The Osirian is big and strong and a useful ally to have around when it comes to battles with enemy groups, like the Lazuli. He tries to join in the teenagers' game, but they're much more interested in playing with their peers. Outcast once again, he heads off alone, making the Whiskers one man down. With her precious pups above ground, Flower's keeping a careful eye out for danger. She knows that it'll soon be time to take them out foraging. Having successfully brought up 2 of her own litters this year, this healthy third litter have the potential to do just as well. But with the dangers that the Kalahari holds, for now, the safest place for the youngsters is to stay at the burrow. As the rest of the group set out on today's forage, Flower's 4 young pups are left behind in the company of Shakespeare. They couldn't be in safer hands. Shakespeare always takes his babysitting responsibilities seriously. He's one of the most vigilant and brave meerkats in the group. So far, everything seems calm. It's not long before the Whiskers are disturbed by something. What could make the group so edgy? A vulture flies overhead. Judging by the number of them, it's likely that a big game animal has been killed, and the scent has attracted them. With the skies clear, the gang of foragers, led by Flower, take a breather from their search for food and spend some time relaxing in the sun. As they're all facing in the same direction, their backs aren't covered. But everything seems tranquil, and they're in no rush to return home. Shakespeare hasn't got time to enjoy the sun. The Lazuli are heading his way. He sensibly leads his little charges into the burrow for protection. The Lazuli start war dancing towards him. They mean business. Even though parsley, basil, rose, and columbus are underground, they are not out of danger. At least in Shakespeare, they have a strong and experienced adult male to protect them. But if the Lazuli are determined to take this piece of Whiskers territory, then Shakespeare will have to fight them off alone. His only hope is for Flower and the rest of the family to get back in time to see off the intruders. But the foraging party are completely unaware of the peril facing Shakespeare and the precious new litter. Underground, Shakespeare's keeping the pups close. Flower begins to slowly lead the foraging party home, but will she make it back in time? As Big Sigh enters the burrow, things are looking desperate for Shakespeare. If necessary, Shakespeare will defend the pups with his life. Next time on Meerkat Manor, will Flower return home in time to save Shakespeare and her precious pups from the Lazuli? And will Casanova Carlos stay by Tosca's side?